Thank you for joining the call. So yeah, I think we have our guest on the call already. Hello, Mojolaade. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. It's nice to have you on the call.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So we have about 31 learners in class. So I just dropped a message to nudge them to join in. So please, if you may, just wait for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes for them to join in, and then we can start with the session. That's if it works for you.
Not fine.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, guys, so while we wait for every other person to join in, I know that aside our learners, we also have other people that have joined the session today. So thank you very much for joining in. My name is Doi, and I work with students as the community manager. So while we wait for others to join in, to be nice to meet everybody, we can just do that in the chat box. Just introduce yourself, where you're joining in from, and maybe what you do. Yes, basically that. Would like to meet every one of you in the chat box. Let's go, guys. Hello, Jaladi. All right. Thank you very much for joining in again. And thank you, everybody, for your patience. So I think we can get the session started now. Yeah, I can see 2 people already introduced themselves in the chat box. Thank you very much, Thomas and Bethel. It is nice to have you and everybody on the call. So yes, and just get started with the session and sorry. And every other person would join in as the session goes by. So yes, Jolade would be taking us through data-informed design. Jolade is a product designer in Patricia, and she's also an alumni of the Student Graduate Accelerator Program. So I'll just hand the session over to her to proceed with, and I'll be sharing my screen for her to present slides. So hello, Jolade, how are you doing? Please take over when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jalade, and like she said, I'm a product designer at, at Patricia. Yes, I was once a student at Student, and I'm glad to be back as a speaker. So I understand that you would like to hear about my design journey, how I started, and how I started in design. So a few years back, I was lecturing philosophy at the University of Ibadan when I decided to switch my career to UI UX design. And I learned on my own a bit. But you know, when you keep learning on your own, you feel like you need guidance, you need more help. So that's when I found out about Student through a friend, and I decided to join them as Student. I enjoyed my time as Student because there are so many things I wouldn't have been able to learn on my own. Joining Student, I was able to learn, and I was such a warrior. I could worry for Africa, literally. My worry was majorly, am I going to get a job? Because I'm leaving a job. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be good? Because there were so many people that were a lot better, even within my class, because they had probably graphic design background, or maybe they were developers before, then they decided to do UI UX design. So I was such a warrior, and it got to me on so many times. But anytime I go to the student team, they'll be like, don't worry, you get the hang of it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Before you know it, you'll be like this, even better than them. And I remember always troubling my tutors a lot, my TA especially, Boma and Gab. I don't know if they're still here, but I'm grateful to them. Then I got a job, and then I realized that you need to get mentorship because there are so many things to learn out there. So many people have more knowledge than you think you have. So all you need to do is just reach out to them. And LinkedIn is a very resourceful place where you meet strangers that are always eager to help. So you reach out to few people who are always eager to help. They'll respond to you, and voila, you're on the right path in the design world. I hope I'm communicating though.
Yes, you're communicating.
Okay, thank you for that response. Okay, so let's get into our topic for today, data-informed design, also known as data-driven design. First of all, what is data? Though known as facts or figures, it requires iterative processing for it to give valuable insights. I think someone tried to talk. Or can I go on?
Yes, go on, please.
Okay. Like I said earlier, first off, what is data? Though most of us know it as facts or figures, it requires iterative processing for it to give valuable insights. But then what is iterative processing? Iterative processing is an approach that you use to continually improve a product or design. Collecting and analyzing data is key to creating better designs and user experiences. Data-driven design can be intimidating to designers who are not familiar with it. Some designers don't even see it, they don't see why it's necessary, and some only tap into data on a limited basis. Understanding the process demystifies it and makes it accessible to designers at all levels of experience. So why data-informed design? I'm sure that's one question on everybody's mind right now. Many designers think they know what users want without needing to do any kind of user research. They also have a tendency to be infatuated with their own designs. But in the vast majority of cases, designers are actually not users. Without data to back up the decisions made about how to create the best user experience, designers are really just stabbing in the dark. Data gives insight to designers so they can create the best possible designs for the people who use their products. Data can come in multiple forms. The most important thing for designers is to figure out which set of data are worth using, then which to disregard and when to disregard them. Now, what are the types of data to use? Data-driven UI design can require a variety of data to determine the best way to create an optimal user experience. This data can include app analytics on an existing iteration of a product, user interviews, A/B testing, behavior flows, and other forms of UX research carried out during the product's life cycle. The more data designers gather upfront, the better early iterations of a design will be. Granted, for some types of data gathering, a prototype is generally required, such as A/B testing. But even those early prototypes can rely on industry data or data from similar projects. And in this case studies can be an invaluable resource in this regard. Then this brings us to data analytics. I'm kind of doing a summary of what's in the slide because the slides have been shared earlier, and I'm sure you've gone through it. So Google Analytics is an incredibly powerful tool that offers easily accessible insights from the moment you open the interface. But a lot of information can be missed if you don't pay attention. Other analytics tools include Hotjar, Crazy Egg, Full Story, Mixpanel, Adobe Analytics, and so on. Most people use Hotjar, Full Story, or whichever one they feel comfortable with. There's a lot to be gained by continuous analysis of user data, especially the entry and exit point of the user of a product. Industry analytics benchmarks can provide vital information about how a site or an app is performing in comparison to others in the same industry. Google Analytics has built-in benchmarking tools that make it simple to see how a site is doing when compared to the industry average. So now let's talk about A/B testing. I'm sure so many people will be wondering, why should you do A/B testing in the first place? What do you think brings about A/B testing in data-driven design? You're probably trying to validate data collected from the test of users. And this comes down to when you have inconsistent or irrelevant data, especially when you use the quantitative approach. To finally validate, you create two versions of designs to help or aid you understand the design that has the highest conversion, because that's the goal. Also, because that's where you learn from. You learn why different elements are preferred by users, e.g. the physical elements of the products, that's color, typeface, aesthetics, and so on. Second, the process, e.g. is the experience in design 1 better than the experience in design 2? For instance, buying an item of an e-commerce company, an e-commerce app like Jumia or Konga. I'm sure many are familiar with Jumia or Konga. Let's say, for instance, design 1 requires a user's details before checkout, and design 2 allows users to check out as guests. The summary of the A/B testing is to confirm which of these design iterations work better when tested with users. Then we move to behavior flows, which in bracket product funnels. I'll explain why there's funnel in this slide. How a user navigates through a product from the start of the journey to drop off is known as behavior flows. A designer needs to know why a user at any point in time of the user's journey drops off a website or an app. The behavior flows tends to show you what we call heat maps. That's what section of the product users take an action. That is where the focus of the users are. In heat maps, we have clicks, we have scrolls, we have touch or tap. The heat map gives you viable data on the amount of data you get on each section of the page the users visited. The funnel is a very good example of behavior flows, which in return helps a business know how the amount of users that has been acquired, converted, and and retained. At each stage of the funnel, a lot of user data information is collected. Take for instance, if you have a funnel, at the top of the funnel is mostly acquisition. You notice that the top of the funnel is wider than the bottom of the funnel, right? That's because it can accommodate a lot at the top, but then only few, let's use liquid in this context, only a few amount of liquid will be able to pass through the tiny part at the end of the day, while still rolling at the top. There's a lot going on at the top, but there's a narrow part at the bottom. So back to my example. I said at the top of the funnel is mostly acquisitions. In products case study, let's just say user signups. Now at the end of the funnel, you usually have retentions or sometimes conversions. depending on the business model. For instance, an airtime purchasing product whose business goal is to ensure every user buys 1,000 naira worth of airtime. So we have 1,000 signups. Out of the 1,000, we have 600 email verifications. This means that 400 of the users dropped off at the point of email verification. Moving on, 300 bought 1,000 naira worth of airtime. That's 600 did their email verification, but then 300 bought 1,000 naira worth of airtime. This means 300 dropped off at the point of purchase. That means at the end of the funnel, 300 users were converted to paying customers. I hope I'm making sense. Then we have quantitative and qualitative research method. If you do, okay, let's say the quantitative deals with figures, but qualitative deals with attitudes and behaviors of users. If you do user surveys, user research, user testing sessions, you're already performing quantitative or qualitative method of research. The major point is what type of research should you perform at the early stage of your product life cycle? To learn how users really interact with your product, you do more of qualitative research, although it can be time consuming due to the fact that you have to spend some amount of time with each user to clearly understand their behavior, facial expressions, mood, and emotions. This makes it different from the quantitative approach, which deals with figures. You know, some users, you might spend an hour with some user, you might spend more than that with other users, depending, so it takes more time. So the last part of the slide before the conclusion, I did a little bit of differentiation between quantitative and qualitative data. For quantitative data, you have larger sample sizes. For qualitative data, you explore attitudes and behaviors in depth. Then for the quantitative data, it doesn't really encourage discussion. Like I said, it deals with figures. It doesn't require you sitting down with someone and be liaising with them. Then qualitative data deals with accuracy and impartiality. Quantitative data, you have surveys, open-ended questionnaires, social listening. While for qualitative, you have interviews, focus groups, observation studies, existing document, user action monitoring system. So let's go to the concluding part of it. A thorough understanding of DID is a crucial career skill a designer should acquire. This is because it gives designers additional tools to get support for their ideas. Thus, it will allow you not to wander aimlessly in the dark, and it will enable you as a designer to create the best possible product with the data to back up the assertion. And this brings me to the end of my presentation. So now you can ask questions and we can discuss further. Is there any part you didn't understand? Do you understand any part at all? I'd like to know. Okay, I can see that there's some comments in the comment box. Okay, someone said I should go through A/B testing again. Okay, that's fine. So like I was saying earlier, I said, why should you do A/B testing in the first place? And what do you think brings about A/B testing in DID? That's data-driven design or data-informed design. You're probably trying to validate data collected from the tests of users. This comes down to when you have inconsistent or irrelevant data, especially when you use the quantitative approach. To finally validate, you create two versions of designs to help or aid you understand the design that has the highest conversion, because that's the goal. Also, because that's where you learn from. You learn why different elements are preferred by users, e.g. the physical elements of the products, that's the color you use, the typeface, aesthetics generally, and so on. Second, the process. For example, is the experience in design 1 better than the experience in design 2? Then I cited an example of you buying a product from an e-commerce app. And I use Jumia or Kunga as an example, since most are familiar with those. So imagine the first design requires a user's detail before checkout, while the second design allows users to check out as guests. So the summary of the A/B testing is to confirm which of these design iterations works better when tested with users. I hope I've been able to answer that. Can I get a feedback?
Hi, Jolade. Yes, I think you've answered that well. I think we have another question in the chat box that says, when should we use quantitative instead of qualitative?
Okay, so so there are some products that are customer facing, while some are business facing. Most business facing products, they require the quantitative type of data, while customer facing, that's B2C, they require the qualitative, because you want to know how your users actually feel about this, your product rather. So you might want to get some users in for user interviews. Hello?
Hi, Jolade, we can hear you.
Okay, I think someone sent a direct message. I'm trying to retrieve, sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my name is Mojolaade with a double A. Yeah, hold on. Well, Winifred said, how does data gathering enable designing for accessibility? Okay, so the main idea behind you gathering the data is to be able to have a perfect product for your users, right? So with the data you've gathered, you remember I was talking to you about heat maps. So when I was talking about heat maps, I mentioned that you'll be able to see how the user navigates through your products, where they click, where they scroll, where they tap, where they touch, and where they drop off. So let's say there's a popular website now, and on the first page, you have get started. After they get started, they're supposed to log in with their details and probably get an email verification before they can proceed to do anything. So now, if your user stops at get started, you can see that. And then you have to go back to your journal. Why am I a user? Let's say you have 50 users, 40 of them stop at get started. They don't proceed after get started. What could be the problem? You have to go back to your drawing board to say, okay, what is the problem? Is it that the button is too small and they cannot click on it, or what exactly is the problem? And this is where, what do we call it? Heuristic evaluation also comes in. But then let's say you have 10 proceed after get started, they log in with their details, and all 10 of them do not proceed after inputting their details or after the email verification, then you know there's a problem. And you saying that it feels like Nigerian products don't take accessibility into account, that is, that's relative. Maybe you might want to explain that further. But your data gathering will actually enable your more accessibility to your products. In this case, we're not talking about Nigerian products. We're talking about the product you as a designer designed. What stage of the design thinking process do we carry out data gathering? Okay, Chidima asked that what stage of design thinking process do we carry out data gathering? So, before you start work on a product, you brainstorm, you iterate, you want to put your ideas down to see how it's going, how you're going to solve the problem of your users. I think that's where you should start interacting with users, because that's the reason why we create personas, right? Creating user stories to know how we can actually solve the problem of our various users. Also, when you're done with your product, when your product is live, you can also gather more data, because you want to know how your users are doing with the product as well. So before it, you can have user interviews, user research, different surveys. And even before you ship to launch, you can have your A/B testing. And after the product is launched, people are already using it. You can do all of this over again, just to make sure that your product is doing what it's supposed to do. I hope I answered your question, Chidima. Oh, Abiola said, okay, can you hear me now, Abiola? Is there any other question, please?
Yes,
Have I been able to answer your question?
I can. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hi guys, please feel free to unmute your mic and ask your questions if you do not want to share them in the chat box. Thank you.
Oh, some are sending personal message, direct messages. So, okay, this person said, our data can be called satisfactory when working on a new product. Okay, this is based on what problem you're trying to solve. Is your product actually solving the problem? Or are you just building a product for the sake of aesthetics? So if you have a particular product a problem you're trying to solve, the product should be able to solve the problem. And then the data you gather from how users use your product, because to you're not the user, you're the designer. You might feel like, oh, this product is supposed to solve this problem. But with your user's attitude or behavior towards the product or within the product, you'll be able to know if you've been able to actually solve the problem of the user, or you just solve the problem as a designer. You didn't solve it for a user. You'll be able to get that from the data you gather. I hope I was able to answer that perfectly for you, Akela. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Okay, I don't have any direct messages anymore. Neither do I think there's any publicly shared one. Can I get a feedback? Do you guys understand what data-informed design is? Hello? Do you understand what data?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, awesome. Thank you,
Like
guys.
it means you take notes. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I was saying like it's like you don't just design based on your personal or assumptions, or you actually reach out to your users and ask them about what
Perfect.
how you
Yeah, because you, the designer,
yeah.
are actually not a user. Yeah, that's great.
Maybe you can talk more about synthesizing the results you get after research. Like how do you go about making sense of the results you get
Oh, I didn't get
or the
what
answer.
you were breaking. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, I'm like saying maybe you can talk more about how you make sense of the answers or results you get, like how you synthesize them into actionable stuff you can do to your designs. Like, okay, I carried out the research on this user base. Okay, how can I make sense of that result? And how can I use that result to like influence like what are like actionable stuff I can use that results to do to influence my designs? Maybe you can just talk more about
Okay. So you know how you have some products that when you're done using it, you'll get a pop-up that asks you that were you able to do what you wanted to do? I know DSTV does that. Asks you how the service went. Are you happy? Are you hungry? Then I think there are some that gives you a list that that pop-up is a kind of a survey. So giving the owners of the products a feedback. So you've gotten that kind of feedback, and or maybe you click on hungry. It's going to ask you why you're hungry. So you'll be able to input your comment as a user, right? Maybe you as a user found the button too small, or maybe the user experience too cumbersome for you. That is your own 411 as a designer. That's for you. Like, oh, how do I improve this UX for the designer? I mean, for the user not to be angry the next time they visit it. How am I supposed to make their user experience seamless? Since the user gave you a feedback with their with the angry face and they input the reason why they felt hungry, that information you can actually break it down, sift through it, and use it to improve your design. Did I make sense to you, Lanika?
you book. Can you try to answer like you
I don't know if it's my network, but you're breaking a lot.
with oh,
Okay, sorry. Am I the only one who can't hear Lanika well? Like, it's breaking a lot. I'm having a hard time getting everything he's saying. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's breaking. We can't hear him.
Okay. Oh, wow. So, Lanika, maybe you should type your question so that I can put everything you said together. I mean, I tried to get a little bit of what you said earlier. That's what I used to answer that question. So the next one, maybe you should input it in the comment section. Or you can send it to me later via LinkedIn. It's fine.
Okay, hi Jalade. I think I don't know if we still have questions from everyone. While we wait for them to maybe share questions, you might also, I don't know if you have questions for them as well. So we can just ask.
I really don't know what questions I have. But maybe I can hear their worries, because I'm sure so many people will have worries, because I was so, in quotes, a chief warrior. I'm still a warrior. So.
Makes sense. All right, guys. Please feel free to unmute your mic. Do you guys want us to start calling names? I'm sure we have one worries or the other. Very
Maybe
sure.
this guy. If you are shy, you can reach out to me via LinkedIn later. That's fine. I might not reply immediately, but I'll get to it.
Yeah, and I don't know if should it be limited to this topic or general worries in UI UX design?
Please feel free to make it everything about your UX.
Hi, good afternoon.
There we go.
Oh, someone asked the question. Sorry, please. Said, how long did it take you after student to get your first job? I got my first job before leaving student. Oh, Ifoma said a question hasn't been answered. Please repeat it. I must have missed it. Okay. Ifoma, please repeat your question, but while you're doing that, I think I can see Olayinka typing his question. He said, I'm synthesizing user research results from the perspective of a new product. I'm not sure I get this though, but from what I understand, whatever data you gather is what is supposed to help improve your design. That's the whole point of gathering data and breaking it down to help your users experience on your product. And from oh god, okay. Okay, you can do any form of user research actually, even before you start designing your product. No information is too much. After all, you're trying to solve the problem, right? So whatever form of data you can gather from your surveys, your interview, focus group, even social listening is going to help improve your product. Okay, I think I can now listen to the person I was trying to talk earlier. Hello.
Hi, Anita. Are you here? Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so thank you very much for the session. So my question is, okay, I'm aware of the research that we normally do, where um, you have to not just the research, there's an assignment we're giving, quite all right. So that's where I'm coming from. We're asked to give details of a product, details of the summary of our research, right? So, and then the one I'm used to is the one that would do a sort of a presentation where you show the scope of your work, you show your research, you show your insights and every other thing associated with the research. So now I want to know, because I also checked online and I didn't see a kind of summary of that slide, of that presentation. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Of what presentation?
Like this research that we do for a product, when you want to do a product, you do a research about the product with users, interviews and all of that, and then we compile it as a presentation on a slide.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it. Keep going.
Okay, so I also saw online that presentation can be made a summary, like a newsletter, summarized as a newsletter. So, but I haven't seen a sample of it. So I'm wondering, how am I supposed to put that as a summary?
Okay. You okay. Before you, I think what you're trying to get is putting some form of survey questions in user, try to understand where your what your user wants actually. So you might put some few questions, survey like in a newsletter and forward it as mail to a few users for them to be
No,
able to
that's not.
options. Okay.
No, that's not my question.
So
The
what's your
research, the research, right? I know
yeah.
about the questions, how to go about the survey and all of that. Now, after the survey, after the research, when you want to present your work,
Where are
like
you
your
presenting the work? Where are you presenting the work?
I just learned that you can do a newsletter, you can do a slide, but I'm used to the slide presentation.
Wait. All I'm hearing is that you're trying to present your user research. Where are you
Yes,
presenting it? Do you mean like in your portfolio or what?
like a tax. We're giving a tax.
You were given a task to present
Yes,
user research.
to do a user research and then make a report on it. So the
Okay.
report I am used to is the one I do on slides.
Okay.
So now I just got to know that you can do a summary, more like a newsletter of your report, that you wouldn't have to put in a slide. Do
Okay.
you
I
now
don't know.
understand me?
I get your point, but this whole newsletter thing, it still boils down to you presenting your research, user research to your people, right? I think you
Yeah.
can, however way you feel comfortable, in as much as you are able to pass across the information gathered.
Okay. Thank you.
Someone is asking, are there opportunities for internship roles available for someone starting up as a beginner, and how can one go about it? I believe there is, and I think this question is for students. Hello. Hi, student. I think you have a question about internship. Oh, thank you, Ashley. She said she's asking if you have a sample of what a newsletter looks like. Oh, okay. I can always pass that across to you later, but please remind me. Is that fine, Anita? Okay, you're welcome.
It's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the person asking about internship, I think that question is actually for student, not me. Student will be the best team to answer that question. But yeah, there are always internships. All you need to do is apply.
Hi, Jalade.
I think you guys have a question. Someone was asking if there are opportunities for internship roles available for someone starting up as a beginner and how they can go about it.
Yes, I believe that there are internship opportunities. I know that there are several companies that would be open to um, taking interns for um, design roles. I think what you just have to do is to search and reach out to them basically, and just take a shot at it. So you can also take entry level jobs for design roles as well. I think that's quite synonymous to an internship. But yes, there are definitely internship opportunities out there. You just have to reach out and be on the lookout.
Someone actually asked, what are the major challenges you face as a designer and how you go about them? Okay, let me just talk from my experience. At a point, I had a challenge with creating my portfolio, and it felt like everyone had a better portfolio than I do. You remember earlier I was talking about reaching out to those that are already in the industry before you. Reach out for mentorship and guidance. People are always willing to help. Don't feel like, oh, you know everything, or maybe nobody's going to listen to you. No, a quiet mouth will never get answers. So you need to ask questions and reach out to people. Just put yourself out there. Then no matter how you feel your work is, maybe you're not so perfect yet, just still put it out there. That way you can keep track of your progress. And even you few months back, go back to that first design that you designed, you yourself will see that you've improved. Then there are actually some resources online that can help you in your design journey. If you don't have access to them, still reach out to people. People have different resources they have access to that they are willing to share with others. All you need to do is reach out, because nobody knows what you're facing until you reach out to them. And Denise, you could also put yourself out there by posting some of your works on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Yes, that's actually true. Thank you, Denise. So is there any other worry or question? And if you are shy, you can reach out to me later on LinkedIn.
Hi, Mojolaade. My question is, what's the first surprise that we should expect while joining a formal setting to work as a designer? Is there something that we should just look out for, or we should just prepare our mind for?
Oh, well, for me, most of the time I was always working alone. So when I joined a team, it was like, oh, wow, this feels great. Working with a team is different, but it was actually great too. So that might be a surprise, but a good surprise. Because within your team, you will have people that also they know more than you. And if you are willing to learn, they will teach you a lot.
Okay, so I have a sub question to that. I realized, or I heard, or I saw somewhere that um, designers, some places in some organizations, are expected to have knowledge of basic programming languages like HTML, CSS, and maybe JavaScript. How do you relate to that? How is that true?
So what I would say to that is baby step by step. Know your design well first. Then you can introduce HTML or any form of coding you want to learn. Yes, some organizations actually require you as a designer to know how to code, while some organizations just require you to know how to design and do your user research. So baby steps. If you want to go to the organization that requires a designer to know how to code, at least know your design first. Then you can proceed to learn how to code. When you combine both, I think you'll be a perfect match for them.
All right. Thank you very much, Mojolaade. Do we have more questions coming in? It's 5 minutes to 3. We should be rounding the call off in 5 minutes. So please, if you have questions, please shoot, go for it while we still have Mojolaade here. So yes, for everybody that is just joining us. Okay. Yeah, I shared the link to Mojolade's LinkedIn, so you can just reach out to her on LinkedIn. So for everybody that joined in between the session, Mojolaade is a product designer at Patricia, and she's also an alumni of the Student Graduate Accelerator program. And today she shared insights on data-informed design. So after this session, we would be uploading a recorded version of this session so everybody can just catch up if you missed out at any point. So we'll share it and put it on our socials and also on LinkedIn maybe, yes. But they will definitely be on our social media so that you can just check it out. So please, again, if you have questions for Mojolaade, now is the time to ask them, because you get to hear her say it in place of just chatting. So yes, go for it if you have questions.
Someone just sent a direct message. At what stage can one start applying for internship? Like after how many months? We're into 3 months now. Can I start to apply? Please feel free to apply for internship. Absolutely, you can. And someone is asking to see my face.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's true. You didn't show us your face.
sorry about that. Can you see my face now? Because I can't even see my face.
Yeah, Jolade is in the beach.
Hi, can you see my face now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Can't remember how I put this beach thing, but
It's the background.
yes.
You would see 3 dots, so I think you can just change it that way. When you click on the 3 dots, it takes you scroll through background and filters.
I can't see the 3 dots. Okay, I can see it. Okay. So do I look like I'm in real life now?
Yes.
Hi, this is my face.
All right. Thank you very much, Jolade. So we'll be rounding the session off very soon. We're
My
rounding the
God.
session off very soon. So please, we've shared Jolade's LinkedIn profile in the chat box. So in case you have questions, if you want her to be your mentor, please you can reach out to her. I'm sure she'll be open to that. So so yeah, you can just reach out to her on LinkedIn. Jolade is a very friendly person. So yes, one tip about reaching out to people on LinkedIn is that you do not want to come off as you do not want to disturb. So I think reaching out should be in moderation. Yes, so that's anybody you're reaching out to would not ignore your messages because they'll say, oh, this person has come again, this person has come again. So reach out to people, but please do it in moderation. So yes,
So actually, I would like
that's
to start with that. Don't start with hi, hello, and then you wait for a response. No, go straight to the
yes.
point. So that when the person sees it, they'll be able to respond to your question,
Exactly.
not just to hi. I mean, if you're sending me hi, you're a stranger, I don't know you. Why should I respond to you?
Exactly. Yes. I mean, if you're sending I to somebody, I for one, I would not take that message serious because
Go
you've
to
not added
the
context. Yeah, you've
serious.
not added context to why you're reaching out. So I think a good approach would be first to check the person's profile out to see what they do. Maybe the person works somewhere. You can just make little research about the place so that you can just compliment them on the work that they do where they work before you then go ahead to before you then go ahead to send your message, because if you are sending my name is blah blah blah, I would like you to be my mentor. I mean, you don't even compliment me, you just come and say my name is, I'll be like, this one is not nice at all. So yeah, just try to compliment or commend the efforts that they put into their work, and then you can then go for whatever purpose that you decided to reach out to them for. Yes, and also please apply to jobs. Jolade, we already have applications. People already applied to be your mentor in the chat box.
It's making me laugh. Someone said, please be my mentor. I'm like, okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it would be nice because Jolade has gone through the program. So if you are in the program, I think you'll be able to relate in that, based on the fact that you both going, or she has gone through the program and you're also going through the program. So yes, I think that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you very much, Jolade. I enjoyed the session. I do not really know much about A/B testing, but I mean, joining the session has given me an insight. So even if I eventually complete my UI/UX design class, I know what to do with A/B testing. So yes, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining the session. It was fun having every one of you here. Um, so yes, just a quick one. We have a survey for Nigerian graduates that we've put up in our social media platforms, and would be happy to have everybody fill it, or maybe share the survey with anyone that you think would be able to fill it out. So I'll just drop the link here. You can also check our social media platform for that, so that you can fill the survey. You can take the survey rather. It would mean a lot to us if you just take just few of your just a very short time, I think 5 minutes to fill the survey. So yes, I'll just share it here now. Glady, please give us a parting speech.
Okay. One thing I would like to tell everybody that worries a lot like me is just take a chill pill. Everything will fall into place. And no one knows it all. Reach out to people, get more ideas from people. Student will be like your previous schools. You don't learn everything in school. Get other resources out there. I mean, I have people I reach out to as well. And this is a public shout out to Femi Osinfix. It's been really, really helpful in my own data journey when it comes to design. So thank you. Just reach out to people. People are always willing to help. How did I meet this person? He once interviewed me for a job. He mentioned this, and I know that I wanted to learn more about it. I had to reach out to him again, and he was willing to help. So don't be shy. If you're shy, you don't have to call the person. All you need is to send a message. Just reach out to people. So many people are eager to help anybody willing to be tutored or mentored. So I wish you all the best. Hoping you get the job of your dreams, and so that you'll be able to spray me money, because I like money. Thanks for having me, student. And you're all welcome. I can see. Thank you, Jolade. My name is Jolade with a double A.
Yes, thank you very much, Jolade. And shout out to Femi of Simfix on Jolade's behalf. I'm sure you learned one. Yes, that brings us to the end of the session for today. Thank you, everybody, again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be on the lookout on our social media platforms for maybe other sessions that would most likely be having. So yes, thank you very much, everyone. Bye.